Hello and welcome to Euranet Plus. Today, for our monthly program with the European Policy Center, we focus on Greece, the Greek crisis. And after negotiations between Alexis Tsipras, the Prime Minister of Greece, and its creditors collapsed last weekend, a referendum may be expected at the end of the week on Sunday, July 5th. To discuss about this, I'm with Janis Emmanouilidis, Director of Studies at the European Policy Center. Hello.
Hello.
Hello and welcome. So, the bailout program of Greece normally ended up today, June 30, and Greece is not expected to pay back the IMF, so it's about 1.6 billion euros. So what do you think, if Greece doesn't transfer the money, what will happen?
I don't think that the repayment or non-repayment to the IMF is the critical moment in time. There is theoretically, and we'll see in practice, certain flexibility can be done on the side of the IMF, giving them some time to pay back the 1.6 billion. So I don't think that the IMF is the final trigger, but Greece will have to repay bonds with respect to the ECB, and I think this is a more critical point in time.
But apparently, as the news and everything is moving up really quickly, apparently, by the end of the day, the chair of the socialist group, Gianni Pittella, in the parliament, but also the president of the European Parliament, Martin Schulz, are expected to meet Tsipras and to go to Greece today to try to prevent a country's bailout. What do you think? Do you think it's maybe a solution to just keep on these negotiations?
I think that we're seeing over the past days and also as we speak that there are final attempts being made to try to find and seek a compromise with the Greek government, which is very difficult on the basis of where we are now. And then there's also the question, even if there would be an agreement, there's a lot of distrust, on the sides of partners as to whether the Greek government would really implement any kind of agreement reached. So even if there's an agreement, it's not going to be an easy one.
So, and the country also is, stepping ahead of Brexit. With this referendum, so Alexis Tsipras just decided to hold on a referendum by the end of the week, if it may happen, if it still happen. So on the reforms, so a yes to the reforms or a no. So what would be the consequences of a no to these reforms demanded by the creditors?
I think if you think it through and if you look at the current situation, should there be a no in the referendum, this means that the door towards exit is opening even more. It doesn't mean that automatically it would happen, but the chances of it happening would increase. And I think this would be a risky development because the major objective of everyone in Greece, but also outside Greece, would have to be that Greece should be part of the European family, which includes obviously also the common currency. So this should be the major objective. Whether in the end they will be able to fulfill that will only be partially determined by the referendum, but a no would obviously point in the wrong direction.
And even Mr. Juncker, the European Commission's president, he felt betrayed by the Greek government. Do you understand his feeling?
I think that on both sides, you have this feeling of betrayal, the feeling of distrust. On the side of the Europeans, there are question marks as to whether the Greek side, whether Tsipras and Syriza and his government really wanted a compromise, really wanted to have a deal, or whether they were not having something else in mind, some other idea where they want to move things. And this is why on the European side, some feel betrayed. On the side of Tsipras, on the side of Syriza, there's the feeling that in the end, many governments even want to have this government fail because they want to send a signal that a left government cannot and will not be able to prevail in the end. So there's a lot of distrust on both sides, which makes it difficult to strike a deal, but also to implement it.
It may also influence other countries. Now we're seeing that central countries, European countries like Slovakia, they're really influenced by what's happening in Greece now. Could you maybe say a word about it.
I think that one thing which we've seen over the past years, and now you see it also now with the latest escalation of the Greek crisis, is that we are so much interlinked. And what's happening in other member states affects also our national debates, affects discussions with respect to the European Union. I think the ones who are profiting most if things go wrong, if things go massively wrong, are probably the ones that like Farage, like Marine Le Pen, and others who are very much critical of the EU and are now would be happy to argue, see, I've told you so, the euro doesn't work, the EU doesn't work. So they would use it in their interest. They would be the big profiteers, the political profiteers, if things go wrong. Another reason why everybody should try to find a way, a solution to this problem without leading to an exit of Greece from the Eurozone.
And maybe, maybe the Greek crisis, this Greek crisis has already shown a failure of the European integration, do you think?
No, it hasn't shown a failure. I think European great integration still is the right thing to do, and I think that you even need more. But what it shows is that you have major structural deficits in the construction of the European Union, especially in the construction of economic and monetary union. So I think that this should be seen not as a failure, but it should be seen as something which puts more pressure on us to further reform economic and monetary union, something which has started some years ago, and a lot has been achieved, but much more needs to be done, which also means that a report which has been now drafted by the 5 presidents under the leadership of President of the Commission, Juncker, is something which should be endorsed and worked on by the heads of state and government, by EU governments, in order to further reform economic and monetary union.
Thank you. And last question, apart from this bank holidays week, what do you expect if there is a referendum until Sunday to happen?
Well, in the upcoming days, I think that the closure of the banks, the fact that there are capital controls, might be a game changer, because it is showing to Greek people, to ordinary Greek people, what the potential consequences might be if things further deteriorate. And I think that this will make many people consider as to whether they should vote yes or no in the referendum. And I think that many will realize yes or no doesn't mean yes or no only to the proposal, but it also means yes or no with respect to the future of the country within the European Union.
Thank you, Mr. Emmanouilidis, for coming. And thank you for watching us, and see you after the summer break for another EPC program with us. Bye.